It was a quiet Monday morning on August 11, 2025. Fans were still buzzing from the latest episode of Are You Sure?, the Disney Plus travel series featuring Jimin and Jungkook. The BTS fandom, ARMY, had plenty to talk about: upcoming albums, the boys' life in Los Angeles, and speculation about the 2026 world tour. But no one expected the shock that was about to hit social media timelines. Around 9 a.m. KST, a tweet from a respected K-pop statistics account went viral. Jimin has just become the most streamed K-pop act on Spotify US, surpassing BTS. The words were short, but their impact was massive. ARMY blinked in disbelief. This wasn't just another chart milestone, this was history. BTS had been the gold standard for streaming dominance in the US for years. Their catalog, from Dynamite to Butter, had shattered countless records. For one member to surpass the group's own US streaming numbers, it felt almost impossible. And yet, here it was, confirmed by Spotify's public data and trending worldwide within minutes. The first question everyone asked: how could Jimin, as a solo artist, overtake BTS in one of the world's most competitive music markets? The answer wasn't simple. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a sudden spike from a viral TikTok. It was the result of a perfect storm, a combination of musical quality, timing, marketing brilliance, and a personal connection between Jimin and his fans that had been building for years. His hit single, Who, released in 2024, had an unusual trajectory. While most K-pop songs burn bright for a few weeks then fade, Who lingered. It lived in playlists, it stayed in the background of countless TikTok trends, it found its way into Netflix series montages. By mid-2025, the song had become what industry insiders call a slow burn giant, a track that quietly climbs until it sits at the top without anyone realizing it's taken over. When Who first dropped, it was already special. Written in collaboration with some of the biggest names in global pop songwriting, it wasn't just a song, it was an emotional journey. Jimin's voice floated like silk over a minimal R&B beat with a haunting chorus that stayed in your head for hours. The lyrics spoke of longing, self-discovery, and the bittersweet ache of distance. Fans felt like Jimin was telling their own stories about love, about friendship, about finding oneself in the chaos of the world. In fan cafes and online forums, people wrote personal essays about the track. Some said it got them through their darkest days. Others shared that it became their safe place song. By the time Who reached its first anniversary, it had already broken streaming records in Asia, but no one expected the US takeover. It's impossible to talk about Jimin's solo success without acknowledging BTS. For over a decade, Jimin was part of a group that redefined global music. BTS opened the door, but Jimin walked through it with his own voice and identity. When BTS announced their military enlistments in 2022 and eventual hiatus, fans feared the momentum would fade, but solo projects became lifelines. Jimin, known for his sharp dance skills and angelic high notes, leaned into a softer, more intimate image. He wasn't trying to compete with BTS's stadium anthems, he was offering something different. That difference became his strength. While BTS's group tracks thrived on global events and fan streaming parties, Jimin's solo music quietly seeped into everyday life. It wasn't just a song for ARMY, it became a song for everyone. By August 2025, Jimin was spending more time in Los Angeles with BTS, preparing for their highly anticipated comeback. Every candid photo of him in LA, from casual dinners to gym visits, added fuel to the hype machine. The US media, already aware of his chart impact, began covering him like a homegrown pop star. Local radio stations started spinning Who again a year after its release. The song's Shazam searches in California and New York doubled in 2 weeks. Spotify playlists like Today's Top Hits and Pop Rising quietly pushed the track into more ears. By the time the data was tallied in August, Jimin had done the unthinkable. He had more US streaming flows than BTS's entire group catalog for the month. The ARMY reaction was explosive. Social media flooded with hashtags like hashtag Jimin Spotify King and hashtag Proud of Jimin. TikTok edits compiled his journey from debut days and No More Dream to his solo stadium performances. Many fans admitted they cried when they heard the news. It's not about him beating BTS, one fan wrote. It's about him achieving something people thought was impossible. He's always been our angel, now the world knows it. Some fans even compared it to when BTS first broke into the Billboard Hot 100 with DNA. That same mix of pride and disbelief was back, this time centered on one man with a voice that could stop time. The music industry noticed. Rolling Stone called it a seismic moment for K-pop's solo era. Billboard ran a headline, "Jimin redefines what a K-pop soloist can do in the US." Even US-based pop producers began openly expressing interest in working with him. He's got that rare combination of vocal control and emotional delivery, one LA producer said. That's why he's streaming this big. People believe him when he sings. But Jimin himself, true to form, he stayed humble. In a short Weverse post, he thanked fans in both Korean and English. "I don't know what to say. Thank you for listening to my songs, for making me feel like I'm never singing alone." That one sentence made ARMY cry all over again. Because beyond the records and statistics, Jimin's power is simple. He makes people feel less alone. Jimin's US streaming dominance isn't just his personal victory. It's a sign that BTS's next chapter could be even bigger. If one member can command this level of attention, imagine what happens when they're all back together, feeding off each other's energy. With a 2026 world tour and a comeback album in the works, the pressure and excitement is at an all-time high. For now, August 11th, 2025 will be remembered as the day Jimin changed the game. Not by dethroning BTS, but by proving that their members can stand as giants on their own while still being part of something bigger. Jimin's voice still flows through speakers across the US today, and somewhere in a quiet studio in LA, he's probably working on the next song that will capture the world's heart. Because if there's one thing this record taught us, it's that Jimin's story is far from over. In fact, it may have only just begun. In the fast-moving world of digital music, songs often have a short lifespan. One week, they're everywhere. The next, they're gone, replaced by the next viral hit. But who refused to die? It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, and yet it clung to the public consciousness like a secret you couldn't shake. Music critics began to notice that Who had something most pop tracks lacked: intimacy. The production was stripped back, leaving nothing to hide behind. It was just Jimin, his voice, and the story he was telling. In interviews, the songwriters revealed that Jimin had insisted on recording most of the vocals in a single take. He didn't want perfection. He wanted raw emotion. "I wanted people to feel my breath, to feel that I was right there in the room with them," Jimin later said. That decision made all the difference. Even casual listeners who didn't know BTS were replaying the track. It wasn't just another K-pop hit. It was their song now. Spotify's algorithm works in mysterious ways, but insiders say that Who became what's known as a playlist magnet. It was soft enough for morning coffee playlists, deep enough for late-night drives, and emotional enough for breakup mixes. Every time someone added it to a playlist, the algorithm pushed it a little more. And when celebrities from Hollywood actors to NBA players began casually featuring Who in their Instagram stories, streams surged again. By the summer of 2025, Who was quietly sitting on some of the biggest playlists in the US. And while BTS's hits thrived during fan-driven streaming events, Who was thriving simply because people wanted to hear it every day. The tipping point came when Netflix used Who in a climactic scene of a hit romantic drama released in May 2025. In the final episode, as two characters reunited after years apart, Jimin's voice filled the screen, soft, emotional, almost trembling. That moment lit up Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit. People who had never heard of Jimin or BTS began searching for the song. Shazam requests skyrocketed. Within 48 hours, Who re-entered the US Spotify Top 50 over a year after its release. Netflix didn't plan for it to be such a cultural moment, but it happened, and it was unstoppable.